Hi, this is Heather with the Potomac Bead Company. Today I'm going to show you how to make this bracelet called the Roman Ruins bracelet. This bracelet consists of 11 seed beads and 3mm bugle beads. It is a peyote based stitch but somewhat modified with the bugle beads. It's fairly simple. So what you'll need for this project is 11 O's and some 3mm bugle beads. You can use 6mm, but instead of the 11 O's, I would suggest using 8 O's. You'll also need some clasps to close off your project, a beading needle, like size 10 or 12, some beading thread, 0.006 inch wildfire is fine, or fire line, and then a stop bead. Once you have your beading needle and thread on, go ahead and attach your stop bead. And to put a stop bead on, you're just going to string your needle and thread through the stop bead twice, leaving about a 6-inch tail of thread. The stop bead just pretty much keeps your project in place so it doesn't move around very much. To begin this project, you're going to pick up 2 11 O's, 1 3mm bugle bead, 2 11s, 1 bugle, 2 11s, 1 bugle, 2 11s, 1 more bugle, and then finish off the pattern with 2 11s. Then you're going to slide your pattern down to where your stop bead is. And now we're going to begin our peyote stitch. If you don't know how to do basic peyote stitch, please stop the video now and then you can actually resource one of our YouTube videos. It's a basic peyote stitch instructional video, which will help you understand the concept of peyote. But what you're pretty much going to do now is you're going to pick up another 11 O and you're going to skip the first 11 O in line and you're going to go through the next one. For the first couple of rows, you might want to hold on to your project because it's a little flimsy, and that's okay. After your first two rows, you'll kind of stabilize it and you'll see a pattern to it. So once you've brought down your needle and thread and you've brought the bead in place to sit kind of on top of that 11 O, your thread is now sticking out of the second 11 O in place. What you're going to do is take your needle and string it through the bugle bead that's following it. Pull your thread tight. Now that you're coming out of the bugle bead, you are going to pick up an 11 O and skip. You're going to do a peyote stitch now. Skip the first 11 O after the bugle. Go take your needle down through that second 11 O. And that just brings the 11 O that you put on your needle, it just places it nicely next to the one on top. You're going to take your needle and string it through the bugle bead. It's already in place. And pull. And now you're going to pick up another 11 O, skip the 11 O, the first 11 O in place after your bugle, take your needle and thread through that second 11 O. This is your peyote stitch. And pull. And your needle's coming out of the second 11 O, so you're going to take your needle and your thread and take it down through that bugle bead that you have in line and pull. And we're almost done with our row. I'm going to pick up an 11 O and do a peyote stitch here. Skip that 11 O that's in place. Go down the second 11 O and pull your needle and thread. Take your needle and go down that bugle bead so that you can continue onto your peyote stitch. Now you're going to do a peyote stitch here. Pick up an 11 O, skip the first 11 O after that bugle, take your needle down the second 11-0 and pull your needle and thread. We've completed 3 rows, essentially 3 rows, 1, 2, 3 of Peyote Stitch. And this is actually your first column of your Roman ruins. Now you're gonna bring your project around, and we're actually gonna include our second row of bugle beads. To do this, you're gonna pick up an 11-0 and you're gonna continue your Peyote Stitch. And to do that, swing your needle. Oops, let's see, which one was I coming out of? Since now that we've completed our 3rd row of Peyote Stitch and just 1 row of our bugle bead stitch, we're going to take our project around to complete our 2nd column. To do this, you're going to pick up an 11-0 and you're going to take your needle, skip the first 11-0 that's in position or in place here, and take your needle and thread up that second 11-0, and you're just going to pull nice and tight to create a peyote stitch right there. Then pick up a bugle bead and an 11-0 and take your needle through. You're going to skip one 11-0 and take your needle through the second 11-0 that's kind of jutting right out. And that's your peyote stitch. This is just the modified version. You're going to do it again. Pick up a bugle bead and an 11-0. Take your needle through that 11-0 that's sticking out. And we're going to continue to complete this column. Pick up a bugle and 11-0. Skip that one 11-0 that's on top of the bugle and take your needle through the 11-0, kind of jutting right out. Pull nice and tight so it gives it that column effect there. Pick up a bugle bead and an 11-0. Skip the 11-0 and then take your needle through the last 11-0 of your column. And so now we've completed 2 columns with our bugle beads. And then you're just going to turn the project around by picking up an 11-0, going down with your needle, going down skipping one 11-0 and going down the second 11-0 as well as your bugle bead. And you're going to pull just to create that peyote stitch effect. So pick up an 11-0, skip the 11-0 that's right after the bugle, and then go down the second 11-0 as well as your bugle bead. And pull. Then you're going to do that all the way for the remaining of this column. Pick up an 11-0, skip the 11-0 that's right after the bugle bead, and then take your needle down the second 11-0 as well as the bugle bead. And pull. And do it one more time for this row. Skip the 11-0 after that bugle bead, take your needle down the last 11-0 of the column. And then to turn your project around, you just add an 11-0, pull it through that 11-0 that was jutting out, and now you begin your bugles. Add your bugle and your 11-0 and pull up through the 11-0 jutting out. It's a fairly simple project, and it doesn't take very long. And once you've actually completed your project, you've gotten to the desired length that you want, I'm going to tell you briefly how to complete the project, how to add a clasp to it. So pretty much you're going to end with a peyote stitch, and you're going to sew back with your thread and your needle back up through the rows, and there's many different ways to end with a clasp, but this is a very simple way that I did. I just chose a pewter clasp here, and I added some beads. I brought my needle out through the second bead, second 11-0 here. Added some 11-0 seed beads and then just strung on my clasp and went back down and just kind of weaved through, so I had a nice grasp to it, so I know it's not going to break. And I pretty much did the same thing to the other side. There's different ways that you could end your project, so be creative and have fun with it. Mix it up a little bit using the 6mm and the 8/0s, or maybe add some drops to the end as well. So visit us on YouTube. We have more videos that we'd love for you to watch. And if you have any questions, hopefully you live nearby, you can come by our store and we'd love to teach you. Check us out on Facebook and have fun making this project. Thank you.